bit about the moniker Samus. I mean, we all know where that comes from, the Metroid series. I mean, how were you first introduced to Metroid?
We were first introduced to Metroid through just the Nintendo. My older brother, I don't think we actually bought the game. I think he traded it with someone at school. Like, because I don't remember having like the manual or any of the stuff that comes with like a legitimately purchased game.
But
Yeah,
that's just how they
yeah.
made the games back then. You never got the manual.
Oh, I think his best friend gave us like a shit ton of games just because my family, we always ended up getting game systems like 2 years after they were cool. Like we had the Nintendo, but we wanted a Super Nintendo, but our parents were like, no. So we just played the Nintendo for a really, really long time. So I'm not sure exactly the year. I think it was 7 or 8 at the time. My older brother just started playing Metroid one day, and I was like, "Oh, this is a different kind of game because it's really dark. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?"
it's a. I mean, like you think it'd be like, especially from Nintendo, like back when Nintendo was making more of a adult themed games. Like that game was pretty mean. Like even Mario at the time, like pictures of like Koopa back in the day, like that's a
Right.
scary looking Koopa. Like
It
Bowser
was
looked sweet as shit, but Koopa, like he was a mean motherfucker.
He wasn't cute at all. He definitely was like stressed me out. It's funny, it reminds me, my older brother, he's playing this Game Boy game one time called Gargoyle's Quest. And he got to the boss of the game and he was so scared that he turned the game off. Like he had spent like hours and hours. He turned the game off and just looked at me and my brother's like, oh shit.
Oh, we're
Like
done.
what did I do? But yeah, so Metroid, it was a different kind of game. I always had the music going through my mind, and when my brother beat the game, and it was like, oh my god, this is a woman. Like I remember that moment. I remember being like stunned because even I had, that's not your natural assumption. You don't think, especially at that time, that this person who's been kicking ass this whole time in this big ass suit that has no indication that this is a female is like this cute chick at the end.
Is
So
that what drawn you to her? The fact that she was this super tough chick?
I was drawn to her because she wasn't like her character underneath the armor. She wasn't like some brolic, like, like crazy ass type chick. She was just like, a regular lady under there, but she was capable of kicking ass, which for me, like, okay, so like your everyday chick. No, I mean, obviously, Sam is not just your everyday chick, but
From the future, yeah.
yeah, right.
But she's not anything. She's not the chosen one. She doesn't have any special powers. Like she's just some chick that trained hard to be put in that suit. She happens to be mentally
Right.
stable enough for it and just fucking rock that suit.
Just goes and goes nuts. Exactly. So there's nothing like super special about her or down from birth that makes it that she is able to kick so much ass. It's just that she does. And so I think that was super inspiring. And I would be a liar to say that I like from that day forward, my mission in life was like to become just like Samus in some capacity. But it always definitely stuck with me. So it made sense later when I decided to make music. Like, okay, this is a character that has a persona that really, really aligns with like my goals and my ideas.
Yeah, definitely. And by the way, those of you not from New York, you're gonna have to Google the term brolic. 'Cause
I'm sorry.
that's straight. That's only New York. I remember my cousin said it to me once. I'm like, does it come from Broly in Dragon Ball Z?
Right. Does it sound like it? I
It-
assume
I-
that that's a connection.
That's what I assume too. I'm thinking I'm just being a huge fucking nerd about it.
Nah,
Um,
I believe it.
Okay, we're on the same page. Speaking about the females in gaming, like there seems to be like this huge backlash or issue where feminists in video games are saying that video games, especially nowadays, are just driven by these men who see women as these weak, feeble creatures and they need to be saved all the time. Like,
Right.
as a nerd, do you agree with that or do you have different opinions on it?
I mean, I do think that there are still like major representation issues, especially as a like a woman of color. It's like I made a song about this. We're not really picking from much,
I don't have a choice, do you? Like,
Yeah.
can't think of any black women in. Well, Remember Me is the only one that comes to mind right now.
Yeah, but that's exactly it. It's like there's one or two. And so I remember playing Mario RPG and being so happy that like Peach fights You know, in that,
Yeah,
in that
yeah.
It's like, oh, like she can do things because for the past X amount of years, she literally has been useless, and actually really annoying and counterproductive to Mario because he has to drop his shit, you know, and get her ass out of whatever situation she's in again. To me, it was like that. That was really, really cool, and I remember feeling like, oh, I wish this happened more. And I remember whenever we played Street Fighter, I always picked Chun-Li, like always, just out of like. It wasn't like, oh, this is my obligation, but I felt drawn. You know what I mean? I felt like these are the characters that I want to get good at using. I always used the female character any fighting game. It was weird.
That's why me and Basher picked Chun-Li too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I really connect with her strong thighs.
Those thunder thighs, man. She's not playing around.
And her time.
Spam
that all day, man.
She's a very she's a brolic lady.
Yeah, she's pretty brolic. Yeah, you're right.
She's like Diesel, but like low key. It's not like scary. It's just like you look at her and you're like, oh wow, like she can destroy my life.
If she was,
now you guys are just losing me because like every time you throw in slang that I think I know what you're talking about, you're like, oh, I'm like Loki, yeah, Thor's brother, right? It's like, no, you're not talking about that Loki.
Oh, no,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You guys are gonna need like subtitles or something to like accompany this.
Basher seems okay. Me coming from the South, not so much. I guess I gotta look up Urban Dictionary. I don't know.
Where are you from? Where in the South are you from?
I am from Arkansas.
Wow, I don't think I've ever met anybody from Arkansas before.
I get that all the time, yeah.
I didn't think they existed for real. I thought they were like anything in between New York and LA. I'm thinking it's just like
it was made up.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I thought everybody up here wore George Washington hats. Yeah.
Well, we did.
I mean, I still have mine. I don't know about y'all, but yeah. So I definitely think that there's a lack of representation, and I think that's why there's a reaching to like SAMMUS to be able to be like, oh, there's you know, some of us are kicking ass, or the chicken with a portal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I forgot that was a girl in that.
Yep. So there's some, but there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done, particularly women of color. But I see that changing. I definitely see that changing in the next couple of years because there's a lot of forums I've noticed online of like, you know, Black female geeks or just female geeks in general who are, you know, who have communities who are really calling for action in those domains. So I definitely see that changing in the next couple of years.
I mean, playing games almost on a daily basis. I mean, I feel like that whole trope of women being weak and feeble, I think that's died off already personally.
Yeah.
I think at this point it's more or less dealing with the over-sexualization of them.
Oh,
but,
totally.
I mean, I think that comes with the territory though.
Kind of. I mean, women don't have to have like triple G breasts that are out all the time. You know what I mean?
They don't?
I know that's a hard realization to but does not compute. But I feel like there can be other representations, and I actually fell victim to this when I was like, I can send you a link to I told you I used to draw this series about all these fighters. It was basically a complete rip-off of Dragon Ball Z, except with like
except everybody was racially diverse.
It was
and women.
And were the women actually useful? Because they were completely useless in Dragon Ball Z.
They were useful. I remember there was one female fighter in the crew, and then there was another chick who was like loosely based off, well, not loosely, very closely based off of, but she was more useful. She was like an engineer or whatever who helped them do shit. But I realized that I was drawing all of my characters to be like, all their titties were out. The way that they looked, and like looking back now as like a grown up, I'm like, shit, I was like 16 or 17. Felt like this is how women have to look.
Well, you know what probably didn't help is like you probably showed it to your peers, you showed it to your friends, and all your guys were like, yeah, this is really good art. You know?
Oh yeah, I got high fives. Like, they were like, wow. And I remember some of my female friends being like, whoa, like these chicks are kind of out of control. And I was like, that's how it is. Like that's what you see. They're all like, you know, big boobs and big hips and whatever. That's Like that's how you draw, or that's how women are in cartoons. Not realizing that they can look any way that you want them to look. You don't have to, subscribe to that.
I would love, in a perfect world, I would love that media in general treats have people in fiction represent real people.
Yeah.
But I feel like, in my opinion, part of the fiction is fantasy.
Yeah,
And
I understand.
you're creating characters to look visually stunning in some kind of way. And
I agree.
with women, it's terribly bad, I want to say, but I feel at times it's just as bad with guys because it's hard to find a game where there's an action scene with a guy and his shirt's still on, if his shirt's still on, like he's like looking like Nathan Drake chiseled from like the fucking feet up, and it's just like,
And we're not all white. Yeah.
yeah, like we're not.
Yeah.
It's just like, I feel like
Ryu is still white. Ken is still white. Okay.
wait, Ken is supposed to be white though, isn't he?
Is he?
Yeah.
I think so. I think Ken's supposed to be white because he's adopted, but Ryu is actually Japanese.
Oh, okay.
You don't look that way.
But I agree that that side of the debate is often lost, like the dude's kind of perspective on seeing people that don't look like them, or that don't really reflect their values. And I definitely point taken in terms of like this is a fantasy. These are fantasy genres. These are supposed to be kind of like out of control and like parallel kind of universes to our own. So I agree, but I think it's also populating those worlds with kind of more realistic depictions. Like I remember, what's her name? Eris doesn't have huge boobs, but Tifa does, and that's okay.
That's why Eris died.
Exactly.
Oh God.
No.
That makes
No.
sense. The developers were like, you know what? We're gonna have to kill this one off.
Yeah, and to even to stay on that same game, like in Final Fantasy VII, Cloud Strife is a very, very pretty guy.
Yeah.
Like, a very pretty little dude, and just like, I think across the board it could be fixed so that everyone's represented a little bit better. But for the most part, I feel like all of a sudden, like the feminist groups especially have just gotten their voices really loud over these past few years. Like, we need better representation, we need more women in games. It's like, well, true, I agree, but
They're like, we gave you Cloud.
Really?
What are you talking about? That's a straight lady.
Yeah, I know, and I definitely. That's also a part of more little girls gaming. Like you just have a greater population of women gamers, or now they have more platforms for speaking. And that's a part of all media. I think that call for more or better and or both representation has to do with like all aspects of media. Like we're just concerned about little girls, and I think we need to be concerned about little boys as well. But there's a lot of imagery out there that makes you, as a woman, makes you feel like you should look and behave in a particular type of way, and it can really fuck with you. You know what I mean? And so a lot of the time, games are the escape from the bullshit in your life. So if what you're escaping to is showing you the same type of stuff, it can make you crazy. So I understand those calls, but I also think that we have to keep in mind that these are kind of fantastic representations of different kinds of worlds that we imagine. Like I said, I think it's just a matter of representing everybody. So you can have, the big titty kind of, Amazon goddess, and then also the Velmas, like the bookworms, the whatevers who are...
Exactly, yeah. Just cover all your bases. John, who's your favorite black character in video games?
Yeah, when you guys were talking earlier, I was like, what characters are there? I was like, there's Shiva from Resident Evil 5.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I forgot about her. Well,
then you have Barrett.
Barrett.
From Final Fantasy. Then you have those chomp dudes from Mario.
That's racist.
Do they count?
It's completely racist.
If I cite Pikachu as my favorite Asian character, it's all okay.
Absolutely racist. Also racist, Popo and Dragon Ball Z.
Oh my god.
Hey, I didn't say that one, you did.
I mean, yeah, I did.
But they show, like, I remember in Dragon Ball Z, there have been, like, moments when there's been, like, a black person. Like, I think there was one episode where we're playing baseball. Right? I think like Yamcha was playing baseball or something like that, and there was a black guy, and I remember as a kid being like, "What the fuck? Oh my god! Oh my god! What is happening right now?"
Dad.
So it happened. But if I were to like suddenly get famous and make millions and millions of dollars, that would be my first thing. As you can see from the cartoon that I just sent you, there's black people in there, and I would love to see like a cartoon with just a little bit more thrown in there, because Barrett was it for me. I remember I was like, oh shit, that's my dude, because
that's my dream guy. Yeah.
He's a black guy.
Yeah, I mean, and looking back on it, he's not really that great of a character, though. Sadly,
he's obnoxious. Yeah.
Yeah, he's really not a good character.
A machine gun arm, so I mean, it kind of balances out.
Yeah, it works out in the end. Although he's obnoxious as fuck.
I mean, was he even in your fucking end party? Like, let's be honest. Like, let's be honest.
My party
like,
was
let's not bullshit.
Kate, Sid, Tifa, and Sid.
Yeah, there you go.
At the end of the day, that's true. Poor Barrett.
But speaking about black female characters in fiction, I gotta give props to Nickelodeon and the Avatar series.
Oh, yeah.
That is pretty fantastic, and I mean, I think it takes balls to make that kind of character. That's the lead in your cartoon.
I do, and I have to give props for that as well. I think I forget that there are things going on that are actually positive, because we don't really highlight those types of things.
And you're absolutely right. Earlier you were talking about like we're making progress towards all that stuff. It's really hard to track it, because for every step that you make with that, like it just doesn't get hardly any coverage compared to like the oppression to the steps backwards and all that.
Yeah, totally. So I agree. There's definitely needs to be more appreciation shown towards those who are like trying to change the kind of public persona of games, cartoons, whatever, through new kinds of characters.
What are you playing right now? When you have the actual time to play games, what are you playing now?
When I have time to play games, I just chill with like Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic 2 is one of my all-time favorite games. Like
Production Tales for R.I.P. my boy Miles.
Oh my god, don't remind me. And then Luigi too, right?
Yeah, like the same week, I think.
Wait, what?
It was like within like a 5-day period.
What? Miles Tails Powers died.
In what?
In IRL, sir.
What?
The guy who played his voice died. Where were you the day Miles died?
Oh, you thought you were talking about like Tails, like he died of like
yeah, I was like
car accident or something? No,
like,
he's okay.
When I think he died a lot, okay?
He's like, no, he's like, no, he's okay, he's fine.
But the guy who someone tweeted like, is there a plot to kill off like side characters or something this week? Like, what is going on with Luigi and Tails being killed off in the same week? I was like, that's not sensitive. But yeah, that game to me it just takes me to like a great place, because I remember first seeing Sonic the Hedgehog, and then playing it at the orthodontist office, because my older brother had to get braces. So like my teeth are fine. So both my older brother and my little sister had to go to the orthodontist. So I would always be the one out in the waiting room, like, so I got to chill and play the game. But I love the music. Like, it's just some of the best video game music I
completely agree. Sonic. I mean, I was playing video games since my cousin bought his Atari.
Oh shit.
And, yeah. When I was too young to even know how to even play it properly.
Right,
I got Nintendo playing Mario daily like that, but still I wasn't hooked until I got my Sega Genesis and played Sonic. Sonic sold me on my gaming life from there on out. Like, I don't know what it was about him. Like, I felt like he just hit the scene and he's kind of like...
He was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, because Mario's not really like cool. He's like quirky. Like, oh, this is fun, but kind of weird. Like, the whole premise is... I mean, I guess Sonic is kind of a weird premise, too. All video games have very strange premises. Yeah. But I remember he was kind of like the Bart of gaming.
Yeah, character. Like, he did little things. Like, it blew my mind how you would, like, put the controller down and come back and, like, he tapping his foot, like, let's go.
Waiting on you. Like,
like, who do you think you are, video game?
That disrespect respectful. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think 3 might be my favorite personally,
Because
but
I can
yeah,
see
because of
that.
Knuckles.
That game is awesome too.
And then
Um,
Sonic and Knuckles. Put Knuckles in any game.
Knuckles is the shit. He's the shit. He's badass. He's just one of those characters. Like he's like a Sephiroth like type of character where he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
he steps into the scene and you're like, oh, this shit just got real,
Yeah, he punches the fuck out of Sonic. He takes all the fucking emeralds. I'm like, who the fuck is this red hedgehog thing? And there's someone he's an echidna. I'm like, what the fuck is an
The
echidna?
animal, like what? I remember I had to look that up. Like,
Yeah,
we all did.
before the internet was like a thing, so like you really had to go and look it up in a book,
You had to go to the library, check out the encyclopedia.
whatever that's called. Yeah.
First you gotta ask your mom, and then she thinks you're cussing her. Like, the fuck you call me?
Go to your
Exactly. But yeah, Sonic definitely has some of the best music I've heard in video games of all time. I think,
all time.
I mean, I get made fun of by my co-host in the other podcast, Snaps, that I love the Sonic CD song, Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
That's
So
a
you get made
cool
fun of for
I
that?
love it. Oh yeah, technically it's a terrible song, but I fucking love every part of it.
As is your right, But
Goddamn
I
right.
actually wanted to ask you a question, because I was at a show and like after Nerdapalooza, like the day after or whatever, and I think this question came up,
Sega Genesis or Super Nintendo.
and that can like
Ah.
be really polarizing for a lot of people. Like some people will really like kick your ass if you say the wrong one around
The
them.
first official console war, the 8-bit processor of
Yeah.
See, my fanboyism is going to say Sega because Sonic kept me in
Yeah.
video games. That was the game that did it. However, I will admit Super Nintendo had probably the better games
Yeah.
because they had the Chrono Trigger,
Oh my
they had the Final Fantasies,
Final Fantasy.
Legend of Mana,
Basically shat on everything. I mean, I gotta say, Sega gets like honorable mention because of Sonic, but
exactly. If it didn't have Sonic, I don't know where they would be.
what would really be up with Sega? Sorry.
Yeah, what else was on there? Vector Man?
Vector Man was pretty fun. I like Vector Man. They also have
Yes.
Tactics.
What was Echo the Dolphin for?
Yeah, that was Sega. I was like, man, the game pissed me off.
Do you remember the premise for Echo the Dolphin?
No, what was
He
that?
shot echo waves, that's all I remember.
Holy
So
shit! Like,
ridiculous.
this dolphin has to save the world, guys.
I was
Like,
talking to
please.
friends. It is a ridiculous premise. We were saying that around that time. Like, wasn't that also when Captain America was like big? We were saying there was some like environmental movement or something. Because like Sonic's backstory was also kind of trying to like save the world from like all of this horrible
Oh, so this was
industrialization.
the Captain Planet era. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they're tied in some weird ways that they were like, we have to figure out a way to save the world and stop like major industrialization. Let's try to use our video games and cartoons to change these kids' perspective. But that didn't work, obviously.
I mean,
Look at us
Fern
now.
Gully didn't do it. How would
Yeah.
they do it?
Oh, shit.
Or as I like to call it, Avatar Zero, because Avatar just stole that whole fucking storyline.
True, man. And I remember I was shocked when I found out Fern Gully was not Disney. Because, like,
Yeah.
Not?
it's not Disney, it's its own thing. Yeah.
Who makes Fern Gully? There's not like a huge studio?
No, that was it might have been, but I know that it wasn't Disney, and that like blew my mind because I thought that Disney was the only thing that made cartoons at that time, like major
yeah.
movie, like cartoon movies. You just weren't doing that unless you were Disney. Same thing with I think like the Page Master or whatever.
Yep.
I don't think that was Disney either. But yeah, definitely there was this environmental movement I think early on in kids stuff, but whoever was spearheading that.
Tone Lock did the voice in Fern Gully. What?
Who did her voice?
Tone Lock.
Tone Loc?
Tone Loc, my bad.
Yeah.
What?
So let me throw that question right back at you then. Sega, Genesis, or Super Nintendo?
See, I was hoping that you would forget.
No.
I have to say Super Nintendo. I just have to say.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
feel And even some of the like lesser known games on Super Nintendo were just dope as fuck. Like F-Zero
Oh,
is
forgot about F-Zero. Yeah,
is one of like my favorite just racing games. It's just super cool and super different. But Turtles in Time, right?
Yes.
That game's fucking epic.
that's one of my favorite games of all time. I think.
Yeah, hell yeah. I didn't think that like I loved the Manhattan Project. I loved the third Turtles game. I didn't think that like
No, Turtles in Time is the best one.
but Turtles in Time fucked the game up. Yeah, it like came through and I was like, oh, you can one up what you just did. It was so good. It's just such a good game.
And
So
by
like
the way, pick Donatello. Just pick Donatello if you want to win.
yeah,
If you're the best person in the room, just beat Donatello and let the best player be Donatello. Can we just do that? Like, I'm tired of fighting the cousins and friends over Donatello. You're not good enough to play as him. All right, just pick Mikey. You know you want to pick Mikey.
I'm so glad you feel that because he's my favorite in the cartoon, but also in the game. Like he's the
He
best.
builds machines.
He builds machines, but also back in the day, like he was secure enough in his masculinity to wear purple. You know, I feel like that was really like, okay, Donatello, I see you. He was really progressive, you know. So as a kid, and he was the smart one. So of course, my little nerd ass, I was like, oh my god, he's so cool because he knows things.
And that's why April friend zoned him. Damn.
She's a fool for that. Eventually,
April O'Neil is a fool. That's the headline for this podcast. Sam calls April O'Neil a fool.
is a fool. Exactly, because you should always stick with the smart ones. Like eventually they'll take over. So.
Well, I disagree. Mikey was clearly the best one, but I mean,
Party, dude.
like, where's he gonna be later in life? You know what I mean? Like, all he does is party. He just wants to like hang out. That's great for now, but like, what about retirement? You know, like, what is he gonna do? You know, the economy is crazy. Like, I just don't feel like he's really like Leonardo. He'd have his shit together. Raphael, I don't know.
Sam, please promise me this. When this podcast is over, can you please start working on grown ass mutant ninja turtles? I just need to see where they are now.
I know. What are they doing now? Because I mean, they were teenagers a while ago.
Ralph, he's dead or in jail. Ralph, like,
Yeah.
like he did not make it off the streets, man. He's still out
Or he's a
there.
pill pusher, man. Could be.
Probably. Like, well, probably at least one of them because they got injured fighting and stuff. So they eventually had to go and take painkillers, and now that's spiraled out of control. Now they can't get work anymore. But I remember there was this cartoon on Cartoon Network. I forget what it was, but it was like superheroes, but they were like living in an apartment. And they were just doing like everyday real life shit, and I thought that was the funniest thing. In the world.
It was somewhat recent, like the mid 2000s, maybe earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I
thought
forget the name of it.
I don't remember the name, but it's the same type of thing where you think about like what's your favorite game characters or cartoon characters do when you're not playing them, or like when they have to pay bills and shit.
Well, we know Sonic's being a fucking asshole waiting on you to press start, so.
I know. He probably got in a couple of fights from me to the wrong person,
Now we know how Tails really died that night.
Oh no. Oh my god, Tails. His poor innocent ass. I have my older brother one Christmas, he gave me the DVDs for that Mario cartoon, because I think there were two. But the one where the Luigi guy who just died, like, and I watched those religiously. And I remember showing them to my students actually when I was teaching, and they were like, "This is old."
You're like, was this the one where like the cartoon was started after a real life?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That and like the live actor version was like it wasn't interesting. Like the plot that they were dealing with was always stupid.
For no one. I don't know whose idea that was to make them in real life and then go to the cartoon. We show up for the cartoon.
It was so weird. Like, oh, we need a real life like representation of what's happening, but except they live in New York City and they're like dealing with random people knocking at their door. Like, I didn't understand that.
Plumbers, like they're real life plumbers. Like,
Like, for real.
That's fucking fascinating as hell. The life of a plumber.
That budget restraint, man.
There was a lot of strange shit going on in the 90s though. So
That's why it's the best shit. Yes.
yeah, that was just one of many crazy things that were happening. So I don't know. It's the same thing with, I always am amused by cartoons with laugh tracks. I just think that's so hilarious to me. Like
I'm trying to
Scooby-Doo.
think of one. Yeah, they did have the laugh track.
Yeah.
And
the
Scrappy Doo.
Flintstones, all of those.
Yeah, but Scooby Doo skewed older like way too many times because whenever they had like a special guest, like you'd be like fucking 10 watching Scooby Doo and then fucking like some old ass actor pops on the screen. You're like guest
Fred
starring.
Astaire or something.
Yeah.
You're like, this.
What the fuck is that? And your dad's like, well, he's in this cartoon? Like, what? How do you know this motherfucker? Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
I just hated most of those people, though. If it wasn't Scooby and Shaggy, like, I just hated most of those people in that show.
They
Yeah,
were the two stars.
And the premise, like I was one of those kids. I was actually really annoying to watch like shows with, because I was always like, this isn't realistic. Like, don't they have work? Like, why are they driving cross country and just solving shit? Like, I don't understand this premise.
Yeah, like, did they get paid to solve these things, or did they just happen upon them?
There just happened to be in this random town and shit goes down, or somebody like called them like, hey, there's some crazy there's a guy living here, like a monster, can you guys investigate this? And like, help us out.
There's a monster running around kidnapping people.
Old man
Fuck the
Jenkins.
cops. Like, let's call a boy and his dog. Like, he'll get this shit figured out.
In their van that they obviously get high in, like,
Well, allegedly.
just ridiculous.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, or so they say. I believe
They
it.
keep the temple clean in that van, I think.
I don't know.
Man, now I just want to watch a bunch of old cartoons.
Oh, I
You know
love
what you're doing
cartoons.
after this.
Yeah, after this. As we're winding down, Samus, how about shoot a plug here? Like, where are all the ways that people can reach you?
Okay, so you can reach me at SAMMUS, SAMMUS music, and I added that extra MA because I didn't want to get sued, because I know Nintendo doesn't play games, but I also wanted to kind of differentiate myself from the original character. So it's SAMMUSmusic.com, or any of my social media. It's just whatever the social media is /SAMMUSmusic. So Facebook.com/SAMMUSmusic, Twitter.com/SAMMUSmusic, Instagram.com, all that stuff. You can find me there. I will be hard at work finishing up this semester and putting together another MEP, and then in the summer I will be dropping my third album. So
And after that, she's going to be making grown-ass mutant turtles.
yeah, well, in between the two albums.
Okay.
I mean.
Great. Look for that real soon.
Do you have any upcoming shows?
I do, actually. I just learned that for those people who are in Syracuse, I will be opening for Adam Warrock and Tribe One. Yeah, I just figured that this is happening today. So I'm really excited. I think it's February 10th. And some other stuff, but you can find that on my website. I'm kind of out of it. I don't remember exactly what I'm doing. I've agreed to things, so I know that I
Verbally, yes.
verbally via
Wait,
email, text.
You
So things-
agree to things and forget about doing them? That's unheard of. Unprecedented.
You know, I don't need that from you right now.
I'm just saying, like, I doesn't sound like you.
All you want, but you
This
know
is
what?
the first time I met you. It just doesn't sound like you to forget things like that.
Okay, keep talking shit. See what happens. I'm gonna get Brolic. I'll show up.
Again, Google Brolic so you know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
I gotta.
Urban Dictionary is your best friend.